Countdown.
And of course, something goes wrong right away. Here we go.
Coming to you from the Black Swan Media Studios, this is Fireside Chats, talking to the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
What is up, everyone? Happy Sunday. If you're watching The Walking Dead or just finished watching Walking Dead, I won't spoil it for you. It was a fun-filled weekend. Did the 2A rally, interviewed a lot of people, Hickok 45, Eric from IV 8888, Tim Armston from Military Arms Channel, and a bunch of other people who were all excited to share the fellowship of the Second Amendment with each other out at the DC Mall. We are brought to you tonight by Liberty Report, libertyreport.co, and I even have a guest from Liberty Report, the chief editor, Donovan, online with me. And also, we are brought to you by Black Swan Tactical. Black Swan Tactical is your number one stop for cool t-shirts and stuff like that. My name is John Crump. I am the Virginia State Director for Gun Owners of America, and I write for a little blog called ammoland.com. Tonight, I am joined by Donovan, of course. Hi, Donovan.
How are you doing, John?
I am doing good. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Well, that's good. And the man of the hour, Jason David Frank, JDF. Wow, dude. I like that behind you.
Oh, yeah. I have some fan made this for me here. And then this was actually one of my first demo jumps that I did. I was like skydive number 100 back in the days. And I jumped into a carnival. So I jumped out of this big, unique airplane, and I had to like pop smoke cans. It was like, it was very stressful, but worked good. So it was pretty awesome. But yeah, this fan made this behind me, a good old Louis Vuitton Green Ranger.
That is really, really cool. So I just want to jump into it. I want to learn a little bit about you, and Donovan's going to help me by asking some questions here. And then we're going to get into an exciting project that someone's building for you, a company is building for you. But first, let's get into about you.
All right. Donovan, just want to say hi to Donovan.
How are we doing, Jason?
Sorry.
Yeah, you are best known as the green and white ranger from Power Rangers. Any kid from the 90s, and Donovan is from that era. That's why I had him on, because your Power Rangers came a little bit after my time. I'm 43, so
yeah. 26 years ago?
Yeah.
About 26 years ago.
Yeah. So, Donovan, you're best known for being a Power Ranger.
I'll take a selfie of you guys. Yes?
All right. How did you become a Power Ranger? How did it happen?
I think, honestly, is my persistence in life. There's a lot of times I train people through – I'm able to share things. Back in the days, we couldn't be on Instagram or social media or anything like that. I tell people to believe in yourself and always strive to be the best you can and be you. Don't be someone else. And I'm going to give you a story real quick. When I was 18 years old, I wanted to be represented by an agency. And I went to the agency, and I actually had long hair and the earrings at the time. And I went to the agency, and they said, hey, we'd love to represent you, but you need to clean up. You need to cut your hair. You need to take out your earrings. No one's going to hire you looking like that. And I went, okay, I've had long hair my whole entire life. I'm gonna go cut it, as painful as that is, and feel really weird. I'm gonna cut my hair, take my earrings out. So I went back to the agency, and I said, and with one of my black belts, I went back, and I had schools at the time. I went back and I told the agency, hey, I looked probably a little different to him. And he was too busy on the phone booking a Coca-Cola commercial for someone that he kept giving me the hand. And I really don't like the hand for anyone. I'm sure y'all don't like talking to the hand. I got the hand. And I'm standing there, and I said, well, cut my hair. It's time to represent. And he said, I'm too busy. I'm booking a Coca-Cola commercial. And I stood there and I said, well, I cut my hair. It looks like you guys are going to represent me. And they said, I'm too busy. Finally, to the point where I said, okay, so what are we going to do? And he frantically searched around. Actually, I have a script here. What is this? Oh, he has a script. And he said, here you go. We'll call it even. And that script was called Phantoms. And that happened to be Power Rangers. So I tell people that story for two reasons. Number one, you shouldn't change who you are. Be who you are. And number two, be persistent. I mean, don't take no for an answer. If I went in there and I said, hey, I cut my hair, and they said, no, we don't have time. And I said, oh, okay, and walked away, I never would have had the role. So my persistence paid off, my belief in myself. And then after the show, during the show, I went to this weird stage of my hair because it's really curly. And then I grew my ponytail back out and grew my earrings, and I could do anything I want because I created Tommy. And it was at that show where, you know, Tommy was different, Billy was different. Everyone had their own personalities, the colors, the fighting, and people like you, Donovan, you know, loved certain colors, and you just were attached to a certain ranger for their personalities, their Zords, their color, their karate, whatever it was. I had the girlfriend on the show, so I'm sure a lot of kids loved the whole Tommy and Kimberly show, the relationship back then. So here we are 26 years later. I've been part of the brand for a very long time. And life is a marathon, not a race. And I kind of knew that back in the days. And here we are 26 years later on your show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, that is really, really awesome. You came from a martial arts background before you even got the role as a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
How did you get that background?
Oh, man. I've been training my whole entire life, man, since I was 4 years old. And that's all I've done. Even I got a home dojo here, and I'm just practicing things and putting combos. I loved it. It was something that I just wanted to stay committed to. I thought it was very challenging. And I started at 4, and that's all I knew. So when I booked Power Rangers, and go back to that one, that's how I got the audition. But the way the audition went down is I went in there and I was like, okay, I'm going to treat this like a tournament. I was already a NASCAR-rated in competitions back then, NASCAR-rated competitor back then, did competitions all over the place. I had to train myself like a tournament. I don't know who Zordon is. I don't know all this wild dialogue. I got a script, and I actually read for Zach because they didn't have Tommy. So I read Zach's lines and went in there and did karate. And there wasn't a lot of people. It was kind of like for you guys shooting with 10 people and no one knew how to use a gun. And it's like going in there, and that's what it was. There was like 10 people. No one really knew karate. Their belts were tied wrong. They were saying the wrong stuff. I would kind of gauge them a little bit, which we have called Pogo, which I learned, which know them personally, know their organizations they belong to, and their goals and their obstacles. So I was already like, oh, so where are you from? Oh, what kind of style you study? You know, digging it out a little bit. Went in there, did my audition, just like a tournament. And they said, can you come back tomorrow? So I went back the next day and had about me and 10 girls. And I didn't really understand, or do they want a guy? Do they want a girl? So in their mind, I was already casted. So then I ended up helping the Yellow Ranger, who was recasted at the time, helped, Twee out to get the role. And I was in the, hallway doing this martial arts routine, helping her because I was like the real guy. That's what I did is I taught. I had 2 schools back in the days, and I have 3 now. So I've been involved in martial arts the whole entire time. At the age of 17 years old, I owned my first dojo, the dojo I trained at as a kid. So here I'm going from a student to a businessman even before I was 18. So I've been always loving martial arts and hustling and teaching people. And that's kind of how I think I remained in martial arts. I got my 8th degree black belt last year. And it's just an honor. I mean, Chuck has an 8th degree in the belt, and I'm 46, and I'm actually a young 8th degree black belt. But soon I will be on the panel and be a little bit older, and then I'll have some young people coming in as masters. So I just love karate. It's been a part of my life. It taught me discipline. and it's set goals, goal settings. I think the biggest thing in life is that you need to set a goal. If you don't have a goal, then you're just going to be floating around in life, not knowing where you're supposed to go and not knowing your purpose.
Yeah. Usually the questions roll by on the side, but for some reason, it looks like the software is not pushing through the questions of the guests, so we can't see what they're talking about. So, guys out there, sorry if I wasn't ignoring you on purpose. There was something going on. There's something going on, but I can read it off my other screen here.
Sure.
So Jason, COVID Tech out there wants to know, how did you come up with Tommy?
Well, originally, Power Rangers, Tommy Oliver was hired for 10 episodes. That was it. I went in there. I did every day with the best I can, passionate about the role. And Tommy ended up being the leader. I mean, we ran at it. This was a Japanese footage show. So if those people that don't know, the show was pre-bought years and years and years ago. So what we did is we took the Japanese footage and then we intercutted it to the American footage. So the Green Ranger was hired for, a small period of time. The Green Ranger's going, White Ranger's coming in. I went to a show called Cybertron, which they basically came to me and said, hey, it's like saying, hey, John, you want your own show? You get your own studio, you get your own stuff. And there was a lot of things going on at that time. And the Power Rangers were getting recasted and replaced. And so I said, sure, I'll take my own show. Sold that show. And then kids decided that they wanted me back, literally calling studios and telling people they won't eat. Moms and dads were complaining that they won't go to school. So they said, okay, no choice, but we need to bring Jason David Frank back and have him come back as the White Ranger. That was the highest rated episodes. I'm actually proud of Power Rangers, man. This is before this stuff. I couldn't jump on a podcast, Google. We didn't have all that stuff. I didn't have social media. I'm thinking as a kid, now that's all I do is I go on my phone. So what did I do as a kid? I guess we just lived life, had a normal childhood playing with toys. And so it's kind of crazy now that I don't know what I would do without a phone, without social media. And we could reach a lot of people now. But back in the days, we were the #1 show in the world, even not having social media. So that's a big accomplishment for us in the brand. I thought it was really exciting.
Yeah, the questions are rolling in pretty fast. So if I miss your question, sorry. But what is the most memorable moment that sticks out with you from playing on the Power Rangers?
I think just playing with doing an episode and playing in Zeal with my brother. I mean, my brother was awesome. He was hired for 5 episodes. He lived a rough life. He's a tough guy. And he always said, oh, your job's easy. I said, okay, well, come to set and do my job. And everything changed. You got cameras looking at you, you got the lights, and he would come on the spot, step on his mark, and be like, you're my brother? And we'll go cut. And I'd say, what's wrong with you, man? Why you talk like that? Oh, I'm just nervous, man. Like the studio stuff, it's very nerve-wracking. Yes, you get used to it. Yes, you get used to skydiving. Yes, you get used to things, but you need that time. And that was the most memorable for me, is him coming to set and quickly humbling and respecting what we do, because sometimes people are like, it's so easy. And I know this sounds very cheesy. It ain't easy being cheesy, because you got to do things like, all right, guys, let's do it. Yeah. And you can imagine now you do podcasts all the time and we're actually looking into the camera, but we can't pretend that we have to pretend everything's not here. And being like, all right, and moving, it's not that easy. It's easier for me to deliver a line like this than it's easier to deliver a line like that. Yeah. So there was a lot of that going on set. But that was probably the most memorable, I think.
Yeah. Edward Braylon Von House, says that he was grateful for meeting you. Another person says, Al Bolton says, thank you for signing his trading card. And this brings me to my next question. We've talked about meeting fans and stuff like that. We've texted back and forth about meeting fans and like doing I'm like, man, I was like, do you ever get tired of doing all these conventions? Because it seems like every time I talk to you, you had another convention.
Everywhere, man, everywhere. And I'm glad to take this time with you. Yeah, I'm glad to take this time. And I'm not that person to cancel stuff, so I apologize for anyone that was tuning into the show last time. But yeah, I'm always on the road, and I do. I love the people. I love the interacting. I love being that guy who they go, they say never to meet your heroes. But I met you, and it's my first con. It's my first experience. So I want them to experience. Some fan asked me today, and I didn't get back to him because I've been so busy. But they asked me, what is the last fan standing? I don't understand that, because I always put from 4 o'clock to the last fan standing, meaning from 4 o'clock, when that event closes at 6 and there's people in there, I will make the show stay open until 6:30 or 7 or 8. Whenever I get through, no fan is capped. I don't like that. Some of the last fans, I have to remember, you got to treat the last fans as the first. People ask questions. What's my favorite color? I don't ever want to sit there and, green, or, I was asked this question a million times on Instagram, and I've run into people like that. And it's kind of shattering. Your childhood memories are shattered. So I enjoy the people. I enjoy the energy. I steal everyone's energy, man. I've been doing this for so long and meeting people. And no matter what I'm going through, you're not going to experience that. You're not going to experience, my mother's loss in the middle of a Comic-Con. I'm not going to come and cry on your shoulder. I'm going to get inspired by your energy and feel like, I'm blessing people, man. I know my mom will be proud. This is something she wants me to do. Even when my mom was passing away, she said, go to shows, make people happy. And so for me, I look at life a little different. You know what I mean? People can't knock me down. They can try, drag my name through mud. You can't. When you have that mentality and you're a warrior and you're a soldier, I've been knocked down in life so many times. I'm going to stand back up. I'm the guy you want on your team, because I'm not the one that's going to cry and quit. Look, we all cry. We have our moments. In and out. You're done. You have your moment. Okay. Shake it off and now move forward. And that's what life's all about. It's a marathon. We can't keep thinking about the past and living in the past. Either you're going to live in the present, and I don't want you to really live in the future, because if you live in the future, which most people say to set your futures, I mean, you got Tony Robbins, you got Gary Vee, you got all these motivational speakers that are really hot right now. But I will tell them that I disagree with living in the future. You have to live in the present and do the best you can in order to get a future. And that's kind of my belief, is that you have to give today 110% to set up your future. Because how can you set up your future and take 50% of your day and go, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and then you're not giving it your best? For me, I try to give it my best, and I'll call myself out. Who else? What other person is going to call and say, hey, John, sorry about not making your show. I really felt bad about it because I have so many things going on, and it's just, I'm not that type of person. As I told you tonight, I'm not that type of person, and people know it. So when they come to a Comic-Con, they're going to experience it. Now, Chile was going on this weekend, but there's so much stuff with the government in Chile that they canceled the show. And that's the reason why I'm not in Chile. People that are asking this, I feel bad for everyone going through what they're going through. I would have went, but the show was canceled, and therefore I won't be able to go to Chile.
Yeah, it looks like we have Nick here too.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Nick, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, buddy. Where are you at right now?
I am in New Jersey.
Ah, New Jersey. We got a affiliate pool out there in Townsville.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Nick, do you have any headphones?
Give me 1 second. I'm going to jump out and look for headphones, and I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll just meet you. Till then. Yeah, Donovan, I think you have a question.
I do. So, Jason, as we've established, I am the youngest one here, and I grew up on your shows. I've seen that you have continued to play in Power Rangers. Why have you kept up with that? I mean, I know a lot of actors and actresses distance themselves from the shows they started off in. You don't see Jennifer Aniston going back to Friends. She's a big A-list. But what kept you in the Power Rangers?
The fans, man. I stay passionate with the fans. The fans will grow up, and they will watch what I watch. If I, disengage from who I am, then that's going to show for me what you think you're better than where you came from. You got to remember where you came from. And I do. And I'm sitting here too. And this was a small show I did, but to be able to do something like Transformers, man, you don't understand, like to play a Transformer is like super cool. I grew up with Transformers. I mean, I grew up with that time, all the original actors. I was like, whoa, super cool. And then I was able to be blessed to play Bloodshot, which I'm wearing now, which is super cool, tactical dude. But anyway, Vin Diesel's doing the film. But what's great about it is I'm getting these roles that are one-of-a-kind roles. There's never been an emissary before. There's never been a Bloodshot before. So I'm able to establish and leave my footprint in the sand. But I also take my fans where I'm going. I'm filming a movie with Johnny Young Bosch called Click Boom with Cold Creek Productions in January. And I really feel that you have to stay loyal to your fans. And yes, is there going to be a chance to do movies? I just got a script offer tonight. But I don't worry about that because I feel as an actor, I might be doing it backwards, where most actors become who they are and they build a fan base and they ignore it, or I'm feeding the fan base. You don't understand. Comic-Cons aren't just where, you have someone who used to be a voice of something. I got big talent. I mean, John Berthenol was at the last one, Sean Ashton, which this is funny. And I'll move on, but he did a Colonel Sanders commercial, which was super funny. He signed me this little, they did a Colonel Sanders commercial as Rudy. So here's a guy talking about going back to your roots. He went back to his roots and everyone loved it, man. He was the Colonel Sanders for a commercial and he's doing big stuff. So I'm with the cast of it, the movie and Strangers thing. I mean, you can't name the celebrities, Bruce Campbell, all these people that I used to watch growing up that are upcomers now almost on every TV show. What I'm saying is I hold the most fan base at most of these shows. I really do. My fans are most passionate. My fans will come back and see you again. You could say hi. You don't have to buy stuff, whatever it is. I'm so open because this is not my job. And even people that don't know me from Power Rangers that might, watch another show, they come out and they become a JDF fan. Then they become, I'm going to watch you, man. You inspired me. I don't really care about Power Rangers. John, I know you didn't grow up in that era, but now I can leave you with a little bit of a legacy to say, guy canceled a couple times and he came back and fulfilled and cares, and now you might watch something because you got it. So you're making fans daily in front of thousands of people. So why not embrace who I was and what I did?
Yeah, I mean, I have, and basically it's because we've been chatting a lot recently.
Yeah.
And you're a stand-up guy. You're a good guy. So I know that. I think Nick has a question.
So, like Donovan, I grew up watching Power Rangers. So Tommy Oliver, you see him in the beginning, and you see him working with Rita Repulsa, and they meet Tommy in the beginning at the karate tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And further on, you see throughout the years, you see Tommy becoming he's a professor.
Yeah.
So was it weird, or how can you describe the character development of Tommy Oliver from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all the way up to Professor Tommy Oliver?
Yeah. First of all, Nick, I appreciate you guys loving the show and knowing your stuff. I can't tell you how happy I am having your fan base, no matter where we are. I got fighters, I got people that are into the tactical to actors. So it's so happy to see your age group ask questions like that. But it's also at that point where producers didn't really have an answer for it. They just said, okay, well, can Tommy Oliver come back? We'll make you a professor. And I was like, okay, well, where was Tommy? So they didn't really know. They didn't have answers. But now you're all grown up asking these questions. That's why they wrote Soul of the Dragon book. That's why they created with this, the Lord Draken. Who's half evil, half, he's the half green, half white. So they're starting to connect all these dots for you because there's not a lot of answers. At one point, Power Rangers really didn't make sense in the very beginning, and then we became like a soap opera. We did 5 seasons. When I left is when they changed the season every year. If you watch and go back to when I left the show at that time, just because it was time to move on, they replaced the cast every year, and they do that so you don't have any power, because some of the originals left the show in the very beginning because there was issues, whatever their issues were. I had no part in it, but they were fired from the show. So the new people started to be recasted. So it was just my time to leave. And there was one point where they change it every single year for the limerence factor. Limerence is where you're so excited about something from 6 to 18 months in either new relationship. You're so pumped up. It's her, it's him. After 18 months, you get like, if it's real or if it's limerence. And in my case, the passion for my character was not limerence. It was longevity. And so there was really no making sense of Dr. Oliver, but after a while they started piecing things together. But this comic book, this comic book, the Shattered Grid comic book, is where it kind of put everything in perspective and made sense of the show. So anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell what's going on.
Question for me: what was the hardest thing about doing the show?
Man, I'm a hard worker. Everyone complains about the hours. Like, we work 6 days a week. Yeah, we did work 6 days a week. Yeah, we did work 12 to 14 to 15 hours. Yes, we trained. That wasn't the issue for me. I think the hardest thing for me was changing cast members. Because remember, when you change a cast member, you got extra work to do because now you're shooting, over a shoulder. You're putting this guy here in white, and then you're talking to him, and then you're doing the reverse shot. So you need stunt doubles. And it was just one of those things where I was like, when people come and be a Power Ranger, just enjoy it. Don't enjoy it now because you're making profits and Comic-Cons. Enjoy the process. And I enjoyed the process, which I always tell everyone. Number one, you got to have passion. I'm passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about guns. You got to have a purpose. You got to have a passion. Later on comes profit. You can't come into this and say, I'm going to make so much money in this podcast. You have to come into it with saying, yeah, maybe that's the goal, whatever your case is, but you come in with the purpose and passion. Hey, we're all on it tonight. I'm not getting paid. I'm sure y'all just doing it for fun, and you're trying to build a fan base. And one day, hopefully this can lead into profit. But those are my 3 Ps. Purpose, passion. Later on comes profit. Too many people come into this industry and they just want to be rich and famous, and they want to be part of your now, but not part of your then. I went through so much to be who I am and what I do, fell, climbed back up again. So in reality, for me, that being a Tommy role made me who I am today, because it drilled in my head, I'm a superhero. And most of the roles, even with Bloodshot, I don't know how the Vin Diesel movie is going to work out, but this guy, he has a Bloodshot mentality. He's a warrior. He gets and he moves. He's got something in his head, and he moves and he moves and he moves. And that's kind of what I was saying life is. If people say, oh, it's no fair, life ain't fair. Suck it up, buttercup. It's the way it is. Life's not fair. And, and just being on the show has really, really changed me, I think, as a person. For you guys, because it's so exciting to see you guys wherever you guys are, whatever you guys do. People are people. It doesn't matter. I have celebrities around the world. I have people that work at McDonald's to Burger King to my mailman. It doesn't make a difference who we are. It's just cool that you guys are fans. So the questions are the same around the world, from athletes to people to it's just amazing to see the show grow so much.
I think Nick has a question now.
No, I actually just asked it, but I got another one for you, Jason.
I got one right, Nick. I'm gonna jump on you.
Good.
So, Jason, how do you feel about the Turbo movie?
It was different, man. It was, I think, man, if they just let me run the brand, I could have built the brand up so much bigger than it is now, because Hasbro bought it, and Hasbro's late. Everyone's late. When the first movie came out, it needed to be earlier. I kept saying, man, we got to push it a year earlier because there's a certain hype. The first movie came out, it made equivalent to what this movie made now back in the days. If you take 95, 10 million to 20 million or 50 or 25 million, it's equivalent's the same, somewhere in there. Don't quote me on that. But, we did the first movie. It was great. We missed the timeline. And then, boom, we had to do a second movie. And I was like, guys, we dropped the budget dramatically. The suits were not upgraded anymore, and it was just that was a Fox Studio thing, that they made so many mistakes on the movie that it cost a lot of money, and I enjoyed it. I mean, what I tell you, and I know this sounds really weird, which people not like to to hear it because they want to hear some cool stuff. I just like how my hair was because I didn't have to straighten it. My hair is so curly and so nappy. I told them on the movie, I said, I don't want to straighten my hair no more. I don't want to show up at 4 a.m. like a girl and get my hair done. So I just let it go natural. It was just nappy. And save some time on doing some makeup stuff. But Turbo movie was cool. I have behind the scene footage that I just found that I'm about to drop. Really, really cool behind the scene footage that I just never seen in my life. So Jason Narvey, who plays Skull, gave me one of these, which if y'all know, like back in the days, I had to transfer these and put it to digital. So I did, and it's going to be awesome, and it's great to look back. Back then, it was different, but now here we are. We're a classic. So that footage is rare. When Saban sold it to Disney to be Dr. Oliver, they destroyed everything. They lost everything in the transfer. Then every season that Dino Thunder Disney did, they got rid of the props. So if they kept everything, they could have had a museum of Power Ranger stuff, but they don't. But I got stuff. I got the original Dragon Dagger. I got a lot of stuff. But I'm saying, I knew the value on all this stuff. This is all my stuff I have. And this is something that's pretty crazy. This is actually the original Dragon Dagger. So it is made of foam and wire. And this is one of the props that we had as the Japanese, no, it does not play. But these are the props. And also, you guys want to know what we use on the show, even if you don't, I'm going to tell you, is the morphers. My morpher was gold. And when we run out of morphers, we would go to the local toy shop at Toys R Us and buy them and paint them. This is actually a toy that we used on the show. So when we were filming, there was times where we're like, oh man, we forgot the props. So we go to local Toys R Us. And then this is cool. This is the Dino Thunder that you're talking about, being the Professor Dr. Oliver. But anyway, this is my upgrade. This is me now, all tatted up. Yeah, where is it at? This is me now, all tatted up toy. Which anyway, but yeah, it was fun, man, and it's fun to experience to show everyone what's out there. And I think if you're not out there promoting it, I built so much hype in the Power Ranger world. I was the first one doing Comic-Cons. Johnny Young Bosch actually was the first. He was doing anime, but I'm doing a film with them. You got to keep the brand alive. You know what I mean? Like with Bloodshot. Nobody knew what Bloodshot was, man. Nobody. I got Bloodshot standing in the corner right over here. The guy right there. There he is. But nobody knew. I was passionate about that. Yeah.
Chicken soup. I'll give you.
So it's one of those things, and I want some chicken noodle soup too, bro.
Sorry about that.
No, it's good. Hey, chicken noodle soup is good for the soul. When I'm sick,
it is.
That or faux. I don't know. It's just random. But anyway, chicken noodle soup, Campbell's soup. My mom used to give it to me every time I was sick. I would just fake to be sick to get that soup. Man.
Yeah, I don't drink. I don't eat it because it's liquid, and my OCD messes with me too much with it. Yeah. But June wants to know, how do you keep negativity out of your life?
It's not easy, man. I was just reading something today Gary Vee did, and it said, here's the core, here's the social media. See, back in the days, we didn't have the social media threats, and because you can't say it to my face, nobody says it. They're keyboard warriors. They'll say something, and maybe they'll say something about your gun, and in real life, they might not say anything. It's hard. You got to block them. I looked at Gary Vee's thing, and it's just like, block. Don't feed into it. I used to read a lot of stuff. I don't read anything. You got to talk whatever. I'm blessed. I'm in my house. I'm doing my thing. I'm talking to awesome fans. You can say whatever you want because the haters will hate, but eventually those haters will become your fans. They're your number one fans. And we talked about this before. I had someone come in Phoenix Comic-Con and try to kill me. Guy was crazy. He had so many weapons on him. Why? Just because he lives in a different world. Does that mean that happened at Comic-Con and they're weird? No, it happens everywhere. You got people doing stupid stuff everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at. It just happened to be a Comic-Con with over 50 top actors, and I was the target of it. But, you got to just go through life and write it off. Everybody, all the actors, oh, man, I don't know if I should do the show tomorrow. I'm like, do the show tomorrow. Do the show. Suck it up, Buttercup. Life ain't fair. Do it. It was one of those things where the next day was my biggest shows because I didn't abandon my fans. If anything, that next day was one of the safest days that Comic-Con could have. Yes, it shook up the industry all the way from here to China to put people on alert to be like, hey, guys, can maybe get security and not have someone dress up with real props. If that's what you're doing, then that's what it is. But at Comic-Cons, you know, like having real props aren't trained people. They're not trained for that stuff. These guys are walking around, you know, showing their stuff, fingers on the trigger. I don't want guns pointing at me right now. And if it's a real gun, get it out of my face. If you want a prop gun, do it. But at the same time, people need the security needs to go up. So because of that incident, security has creased around the world. Yes, it has cost promoter a lot more money. It takes a lot of time getting in, but stuff happens all the time. And that's talking about negativity. That's something that was really serious to me, but it didn't faze me. I continued doing what I'm doing. I'm the one standing on top of the tables. I'm the one posting where I'm at. I'm probably the easiest target at a Comic-Con, so it ain't going to happen. It's not my time. And, you know, I've been through crazier stuff in my life, but that's a point of not abandoning fear in your life, you know, living the way other people want to tell you how to live. It just was what it is. And, you know, so I kind of – I have to think before I talk now. It's one of those things where I have a rule. It's a 3-second rule. It was very hard for me back in the days. I didn't have that great of a life. I grew up different, but I have a 3-second rule. I need 3 seconds to think about what I'm about to tell you right now. And with those 3-second rules or stepping away for 6 seconds, trust me, it makes a difference. How many people say something out of anger and then they're like, I'm so sorry. I want to say things, but I don't. I don't let it affect me. You know, when you're the higher you get, the more people want to, you know, damage you. And I just talk about a bucket full of crabs, right? We're all in a bucket and they don't mean to do it. But when the crab's going up, the crab pulls you down and they're all pulling each other down. That's instinct. It's instinct. When you make it, some friends instantly get jealous. Like, well, how do you do it? It's like, dude, I worked hard for it. You know, so as far as the negativity, people are saying it's a lot easier than that. I'm telling you, if you shake it out, and wake up in the morning and say, today's going to be a good day, it is, because there's proof. Vander Holyfield every day woke up in the morning, so I'm going to be a world champion. I'm going to be a world champion. You get what you speak. I promise you, there's things I spoke into existence because I believed in it 100%. You speak what you get. Also, ink it and think it. I got things around my desk, business plans and other stuff that I have to remind me that, hey, we're all here for a reason. There's a reason why we're all for on this. I don't know yet what the reason is. Obviously, we're here for the Second Amendment, but there's a reason why we're all connected. There's a reason. It's not just. It doesn't just happen where I call and we set it up. There's reasons. And there's a message here somewhere that someone needs to hear.
Yeah. One question that we have talked about before, but someone asked it in the chat. Let me just find it here because now I can't remember what it was. How did you deal with the backlash back in the day about you know, some parents thinking the Power Rangers was too violent? I know the answer to this.
I love that you asked that question because people are probably hitting you up all the time about guns and the Second Amendment and this and that and violence and just all this stuff.
Every day.
I used to be sent in very strategically when someone would come in. I went to a Canada interview where these kids beat this other kid and the kid passed away and died. And we were blamed for Power Rangers, playing Power Rangers, beating this kid up, and the kid passed away. And I was sent in there. And first thing is my condolence. And I'm sorry about that, but we have no responsibility over what happened. We don't have a responsibility. And I'll tell you why. Violence was created before movie cameras. So are you going to tell me that kids didn't play Cowboys and Indians and kids are playing this and kids are playing that? They're going to see it, but you need to educate the kids in martial arts. That's what I told them. Well, is karate violent? And this is my answer. Yeah. Producers, if you're not educated, karate is violent. If you're not educated on the gun, then wherefore it's not the gun's fault, it's the shooter's fault. And it is the person's fault. So I was very firm about that whole, yeah, karate could be violent. Sign them up at your local karate school. Get them involved. Educate them. Let them know, because it's the person. It's not karate. It's the whatever the brand is now. People want to pass the blame. Whatever the show can be nowadays. Well, Power Rangers taught me how to fight. Well, Power Rangers gave you a message, and there's so many kids that grew up training in karate, that grew up as police officers, that grew up that are. I can tell you right now how many police officers that you can go out there and say, hey, your age group. Oh, dude, I was the biggest fan of Power Rangers. What the heck? You know how many tickets I got off of? I'm just saying. So Power Rangers has changed lives. So I would go in all the time when there was a conflict. I would keep things neutral, and I would remind them that violence was created before a movie camera. It's simple.
Yeah, Nick has a question for you.
All right, Jason. Know you're a martial artist, and do you think the discipline from the martial arts that you trained in, have you brought that discipline over into character for Tommy?
Man, discipline is what life's about. It's like, you post a gun, trigger discipline. You hear that word all the time. I'm very disciplined, but I hold myself accountable. And I made Tommy. Like, Tommy was me, just the G-rated version at the time. I cuss and I say things here and there, but it was the G-rated. You guys are kids. Even at this point now, I don't drink. I used to. People can, used to. It's been 8 years. Call me out on the last 7-8 years when I drank. I don't, because I don't want people to, I never forget, I was drinking and I was fighting, and this guy came up and said, hey, man, you're fighting? And yeah, you drinking? Yeah, just relax and whatever. And he's like, oh, wow. And I saw his face look so disappointed. I'm thinking, well, he's drinking, I'm drinking. I just don't. It's just not worth it to me. So I don't. So people know me, and maybe I'm that boring guy that doesn't, hey, I'm the Power Rangers that I want to have a beer with, but I might be the Power Ranger you're going to grab some wisdom, because that stuff kept me straight. So Tommy was my character that I kind of just became me, but it was the G-rated. Tommy didn't drop no F-bombs on the show. If you go look at my Instagram, I'm pretty neutral. I'm really neutral on Instagram. Do I take a little backlash for the Second Amendment? Yeah. Do I lose some fans when I post an AR? Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it is what it is. We're all here for a reason. We all have a purpose in life, and we have our own beliefs. And I can't steer away from who I am. I mean, what I do. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you, man. It's if anything, people should believe, give you credit for saying, hey, Donovan, Nick, John, I respect your beliefs. Why can't people respect certain beliefs and they always judge? Just respect them. Respect their beliefs. If you have respect for beliefs, then it is what it is. Don't argue your point or justify something that's not there, like Power Rangers is violent. Power Rangers shouldn't be watched by our kids. Guess what? Change the channel. Their kids are going to do what they want to do anyway. Your kids at this time, when you say you don't want Power Rangers, good luck. There's something called Netflix. There's something called iPhones. They're not going to listen to their parents anyway, because we're going to watch it. It's going to want to make it watch. It's going to make us want it more. So, you have to look and say, okay, I'm going to let them watch Power Rangers. What is this about? Karate? Hey, bud, do you want to sign up at a karate school? Yeah, I want to sign up at a karate school. No one gave Karate Kid backlash because painting the fence. Painting it had a purpose. We had a purpose too. And you guys see it. It's just your parents didn't, because your parents don't watch
it. Do you ever do Comic Cons with other members of the cast from the past?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of shows with the people that want to do it. I'm with the people that are passionate about it. I'm with the people that I did a show here in Texas. If you're going to do my show, then you need passion. And all my guys had passion, because we did my show out of passion. It was very successful. So yeah, I do. There's certain people that I have not worked with. There's over 100 Power Rangers. I've only worked with a certain group. I'm looking at the picture now. We got this team who, is Catherine and Rocky and Nakia, and this guy. Oh wait, that's backwards here. This guy was Brad Hawkins, who did VR Troopers. He was Brad Hawkins. He was the voice of the Gold Ranger. This guy Brad was supposed to replace me. He was supposed to be the White Ranger. He wasn't. It's just the way the plan came together. Your blueprint is already made. I don't care what anyone says. That's why my time was not to die that day. I don't care. It wasn't like, oh, I'm tough and I'm just not my time. I know when my time is. It's not anytime soon.
I think Donovan has a question now.
Yeah. So, Jason, when did your interest in firearms really start?
Go ahead.
Because I noted that you didn't blame the guns for the guy who threatened to kill you or attack Comic-Con. It seems like that is the common cause today. Blame the gun, not the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't.
No.
So, and a lot of that comes from people who've had a lot of prior experience in firearms. So when did your interest start?
Man, I go way back. I was trying to find a picture to show you guys earlier when I was in the karate school. My instructor, Chris Paxamaker, at the time, he played the original Scorpion on Mortal Kombat. So he was the original Scorpion. We came from a hard knock school, Red Dragon Karate. Every 3 miles, there was a Red Dragon Karate in our certain area. We had 28 schools. It was like McDonald's, but we were legit. And my instructors introduced me to firearms when I was 18. We would go out to Bell Mountain, California. Yeah, maybe it's illegal now. It was legal then. But we'd drive out to Bell Mountain. We'd take our firearms, and we would go out there and we would practice. And my instructors were very safe. They knew which guns. I mean, at that time, I was, shooting maybe a 22 9mm. We really didn't have 223s kind of in California. But anyway, my guys had a lot of different guns, and we learned. We went out there, and in fact, Johnny Young Bosch, Jason Narby, who played Skull, and me are doing this film called Click Boom. And the reason why I said, man, we have good energy, we brought up in California, we would always go. We would go to shooting ranges. We would work together, and we talk about that all the time. So now this movie is tactical, and we're like, oh, super cool. So I got involved very early. Shooting the firearms, you learn to be safe, but then you learn your groupings are terrible. You're shooting a gun, you think it's super cool until you really learn and dial it in on how efficient a shooter would be. And the reason why I'm glad that guy didn't try to shoot is that he would have missed me. Every single one would have missed me. It would have hit someone next to me because the guy don't train at all. He's got all these. I wish I could show you the police photos. You wouldn't believe. He had 4 Ninja Stars, a taser, a 357, a 9mm, all fully loaded, shotgun, a 380. All this was concealed on him. I mean, he was a big guy, weighed 400 pounds. Everything was concealed. So it's not. Never went back and blamed the gun. It's the person. It's the person. And you have to understand that I came from that Power Ranger violence, caused this kid to murder another kid back in the days in Canada. It's not what we did. And, I believe in the truth of educate yourself in karate. And I believe what you see on TV could be violent. What you see on TV is the security of a gun. Do you know how many people walk around and how many times has someone said, here's this, or they walk around with these people that don't understand guns, they're out there. They don't understand guns. They walk around with a false security. It's like they'll never have time to draw it, never have time to defend themselves, but people will get a gun. It will just increase more if you try to take them away. It will just become more. So we need to understand that it's the person, and in martial arts, it's the person misusing karate. It's their heart, it's their personality, it's their raising, it's where they come from, it's them. It don't matter. I was on an airplane the other day, took a big tripod, huge tripod, checked it in. This girl, she had a golf club that she was trying to bring in, and she was an older lady, and said her husband died, and this was his golf. It was a small little golf club. No, ma'am, you can't take that. You can't take that. You can use it as a weapon. Meantime, I had this big tripod with a spike on it. You know what I mean? Like it's just to the point where it's just some stuff just does not make sense to me. So we got to go in what we believe. I got a family. I got I'm not walking around panic all the time, but I have a right to protect myself. I want people to know. Yeah, I post guns a lot for people. Why do you do that for? Because I want everyone to know that if they try to come mess with me, you're going to have an issue. Not only do I live in Texas, but there's an issue. I want people at that point. Did I want people to know before? No, but people need to know that that's what it's going to come with to me, that I want to be protected, not just with a gun. A gun's not going to protect you, man. It's the person. It's the person understanding it. It's the person with skills. It's the person where you're going to go in and have a CHL and you're going to try to be a hero when you're not educated in the gun, and you end up shooting Billy, who's next to you, because you're not practicing. I think it takes time, it takes love, and it takes passion, but it also takes these things to go, yeah, Jason's right. John's right. Donovan's right. Nick, I'm going to hit the range tomorrow. Just practice. Your intentions might be good, but your shot's terrible. So, you know what I mean? Educate yourself on gun. Educate yourself in the martial arts. You don't need to be perfect, but it's just be safe. That's what life is. It doesn't matter if I have a gun, if I have karate, I have a knife, I have a blade. You're going to start taking everything away from me? There you go. So, in California, they have certain measured knives. Like there's a Kubotan. That's a little keychain, right? Yeah. There you go. There's a Kubotan that's about this big in California that I got written up for. A fan put it in my bag, and I got stopped by a TSA. I had 3 people on me. I had to get written up. I had to give my license on a Kubotan. Yeah. And they're worried about a little Kubotan. Like, guys, it doesn't matter what you have. A weapon is a weapon. And you just have to learn how to control it. And it's our rights. No matter what you want or what you're trying to do, ain't never going to happen.
Yeah, I think Nick has a question really quick as well.
So I have a question real quick before I have to head back into work. But it's about the new movie that was out not too long ago.
Yeah.
And what was it like to see the Power Rangers now? Just all this CGI, all the new Rangers portraying the originals. And at the end, when they start saying Tommy Oliver, and just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So what was it like hearing that and seeing that?
Yeah. Well, if they're smart, they need to connect characters together to connect your age group. They should put some characters, originals in there, connect it. Luke Skywalker's Luke Skywalker. Come on, guys. Like, let's be smart about it. But I was actually taking a photo of me in the movie, and I actually got escorted out. So it became big news. I didn't get a chance to see that last part. I mean, it was like Tommy Oliver. I was taking a picture of me and my daughter. Security pointed at me and they said, "Come here." So I thought, I'm giving a big speech, man. I'm going to go out there and give this big speech in front of everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm so happy you're watching. No, I got escorted out. And it was about 5 or 6 security guys that were like, "Give me your phone." I'm like, "No, I'm not giving you my phone." And they didn't know who I was. And then they found out who I was. And then the head of Lionsgate, anyway, they all got fired. Lionsgate ain't doing the movie. All the other original cast is not doing the movie. So you're going to have to reboot a reboot of a reboot. It just gets crazy. I'm happy that I wasn't rebooted yet. Because, when you're a reboot, when you put yourself on Time Life, you get the Power Rangers. After the Bionic Man, you start thinking, man, this is getting old if you're on Time Life. But I was glad and blessed to be part of it. I wasn't happy that I was harassed afterwards. It came out and then Saban called, please not talk about it because it's overshadowing the movie. But what was interesting about it is I said, guys, I'm about to go live. "No, sir, put the phone down. I'm about to go live right now. Don't make me push the live button." "Okay, relax. I had all those guys backing away from me. I'm about to go live. I'm about to hit it because y'all harassing me. But anyway, I didn't see that last part, but and then now they're changing the cast again. So it's in Hasbro's hands. We created the Lord Draken, me and Kyle Higgins. I spent my own money creating this trailer. It's on the JDF FFN YouTube. Lord Draken, and this comic book is the answer to the universe, because with this character's older dude, do it why I enjoy it. As an older, it would be high ratings. The only problem is this character will make more money than the movie. And that's what they're afraid of, is that it's just my character again. Lord Draken is Tommy. Dr. Oliver, Lord Draken, it just makes sense. It makes sense to your answer of what happened to Tommy Oliver. Why did he become a doctor? It's the comic book. Do a series, do a Netflix series. And you know what they're doing is they're putting toys out. Lord Draken toys are now out, and the only digital media is out there is on my YouTube channel. Me and Kyle, he directed it. We put up the money. Then the brand was like, "Oh, we want in. This is great." And now I'm the only one that owns the digital content. So if you want to see live Lord Draken, you got to go to YouTube. They're not probably too happy about it. They need to introduce this character into the brand. But right now, I own the digital rights to it.
You've also been into MMA. How was that, going from acting to MMA?
It was challenging. I have a great clean record. I've never lost. I did a kickboxing match. I did Muay Thai. I did amateur fights. Did a pro fight. It was challenging because people doubted me on my abilities to do what I could. And this guy who just beat up Punk is a friend of mine. He's Jackson, Mike Jackson. He beat him up. I trained. You can go talk to Derek the Black Beast. He'll tell you about who I am and what I do. He was one of my main sparring partners back in the day, and I was the one always, thrown down with Derek. So Derek can tell you it was hard getting into the end because everyone doubted. But then, so I had to come up with a win-win. If you beat me up, everyone around the world is going to hate you, man, because you beat up the Green Ranger. But if you get beat up by the Green Ranger, man, so. At that time, it was a win-win. If I fought CM Punk in the UFC, people would have hated on me because they hated on Mike. He dragged the fight out. He didn't drag it out on purpose. It's a fight. You can do whatever you want. If you want to drag it out, drag it out. You signed up to do the match. You got 3 rounds, do 3 rounds. So I think fighting the Punk thing would have been a lose-lose for me. Everything was, even with the Van Damme situation. It wasn't a lose for me, but people are like, he's old, leave him alone. I didn't do anything to Van Damme. He started his own problems with me. I just happened to be there, and I just happened to be there at the wrong time. And these guys, it's a Comic-Con. There's no time to fight. There's no time shooting people. Let people enjoy it. Look at Spider-Man and relax, Van Damme. Just relax. Chill out a little bit. So most of the people I run into, and then Chuck Norris. Man, I love that guy. We've done so many shows together. I love it because he said one thing that I'll never forget. Jason, you'll be the next Chuck Norris. I said, no, Chuck, no one can ever be you. He says, you know what, Jason? My career did not start until I was 50. You're 46. His career didn't start until he was 50. So I was like, there's a lot of hope out there. And I got a lot of fans, I think, that will support me to watch my upcoming stuff, even with Bloodshot. You know how many times on Sony and everything mentioning Van Diesel, they're like, we want Jason David Frank. We want JDF. It's over now. He's Bloodshot, but I plan to go to the movie premiere. I plan to meet everybody, and I do nothing but blessings. If I'm 100% happy for the dude, I'm going to get blessed. It's just the way it is. I have no bitterness with anyone. But I saw Van Damme at the last show. He's lucky he didn't say anything. I'm just saying because I have to do my 3-second count. 1, 2, it's not working. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not working. Anyway, it is what it is.
So, Jason, I have to ask, what is your favorite gun?
My favorite gun? Oh, man. Right now I'm loving my Glock 17. The STI that shoots so good, the 2011. But right now I'm just I even got calluses on my finger. Just my Glock. I don't know why. I just always love Glocks. It doesn't mean that I'm not opposed to shooting other guns. I'm just kind of used to shooting that Glock. The STI is amazing. It's super amazing. My AR, Terry at Humble Sports, I do got to give him credit for spending time teaching with me. Also, my friend Dice, who's big time into the guns. He's taught me a lot, and I'm always learning. I did the Ronin Tactical. That was fun. I'm just always learning, but I just think I'm used to my Glock. I don't know. I love switching in between. I love switching. I love even shooting anything. So shoot a Ruger, a Glock. I love switching in between. I know people say not to do that when I'm like just doing. I like to switch it up. But I have my favorite pair of nunchucks. I have my favorite bow staff. And then you got to go with what feels good with you. My hand's different than most people. So whatever the feel is, So I got the Zev additions on it, and I got all the good stuff. But then again, it does not matter how good your gun is. It matters with the shooter. I hear people like, "Oh, this gun don't shoot well." And you go up and you're like, "Pop, pop, pop," and you're like, "Oh, wow, it shoots good for me." So I'm really focused on the shooter. I don't like shooting the cheap ammo just because I like to keep it brass so people can sweep the brass up, not the steel.
Oh, one more question, then we're gonna get into like the project that we're having done for you. It's about your poetry. A lot of people don't know that you write poetry. How did you get into poetry?
Okay, this is funny. It's when you're sharing your personal stories or you're sharing poetry, it's tough. What I mean by tough is two things. It's tough to get to that point and it's tough because no one's going to say anything. How can you say anything about the feelings? So I put a lot of thought into a lot of people that have issues. We all have troubles. We all have issues, but we're not man or woman enough to face that issue. And the issue starts with you looking in the mirror, saying, are you happy with your life? Are you happy? Everyone calling you names. Are you that name? Or everyone just around you calling you names. So I started writing poetry. It just makes sense to me. I don't know, the certain rhyme in poetry just made sense to express myself in a different way that I can express myself like everyone's diamonds. We're all diamonds in the rough. We just got to be polished. We all have a purpose. We're all tough under pressure. You know, being under pressure is going to cause you either to be a diamond or you're not. Pressure creates diamonds. And so I had a lot of these philosophies I learned in karate. So I start writing. And then I was like, man, I don't know if I should put this stuff out. It's kind of soft. You know, I'm a fighter. I'm this, I'm that. But then I said, it's tough. It's tough to make you vulnerable, and it's tough to share. So, yeah, I'm a karate guy and the tactical stuff, and I write poetry. What is anyone going to say about it? No one's going to say anybody. If anything, I've inspired people to at least open up and share with other people, because sometimes stuff gets bottled up. And if I can let you know that life is not always great, life has struggles, and you might be going through a storm right now, and then it might stop, and that's the eye of the storm where everything stops, and then the storm passes you again. We just got to learn that we all have a better, bigger purpose in life, and we just keep fighting. So I started writing. I did the hashtag JDF Spoken Truth. I hired Cold Creek Productions, who's doing my film now in January, The Click Boom. Amazing guy. Esteban, the DP, his crew is just amazing. And the presentation of the poetry has to be captivating. No one has done, I have another project called In My Head. No one has done like poetry / movies. I mean, it's not easy rhyming, and it's not about being a rapper or anything like that. I just express myself better that way. I don't know. I've just been writing for a long time. I got over 100 poems that are random that will, you know, I might not always be that person, but I can relate to you as having ADD or any kind of struggles or teaching people. And I don't know. I just think it's inspired people to open up. And a lot of people wrote, like, you know, a lot of people wrote, and now they're singers, and they're like, dude, thanks for sharing. That inspired me. And one thing that it held me back again was the grammar. And, you know, the people that are always like, hey, you didn't put a comma there. You didn't put a dot. So period. It's like, dude, grammar, like Sean Ashton said, the poetry is about movements. It's about emotion. It has nothing to do with the words. So as long as you're expressing yourself, and emotion is the universal language for everybody. If I'm mad and you're mad and Donovan's mad, we all look mad. It's an emotion that we can understand. We don't need to speak English to understand it. We don't need to speak their language. It's the universal language is emotions. And you can communicate with a girl you like, a guy you like, anyone else. I communicated with the kid that was from India about a ball. And I was just like, he took it and he was playing. He was laughing. I didn't say anything. The kid took my ball. I was pretty sad about it. But he just walked off and I let him. But the point was, you can communicate with people. In Thailand, when I train, do you think they talk to me? They don't talk to me. They go, shoosh, ish, 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 and you're bah, bah, ish, 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 ish. They don't communicate. We don't need to. So I think my poetry can relate to a lot of people based off expressions and being tough. Are you tough enough to share your problems, at least with your closest person? Or are you tough enough to look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm that guy that everyone's calling that name to. Maybe it's me that needs to change. So we're changing people.
Quick question here that some people want to ask for some reason. But we don't have a lot of time. So your favorite martial arts book? Chris Shoemaker's question.
Favorite martial arts style?
Book.
What, Donovan? You need to try book.
Yeah.
Martial arts book. I have a book that's not, you might think, like Book of Five Rings or this or that book. It's Black Belt Parenting. It's a business book to give you John, if you work for me as a black belt, and Donovan, you work for me as a black belt, children are not, most people don't have kids. So it's black belt for students. It's how you teach a kid that you don't have. It's how kids understand. My school, you know, if you guys know, the Rising Sun Karate School is one of the top 10 schools in the global through the Educational Funding Company. We won one of the top 10 schools around the world. It has nothing to do with the money. Yes, you know, profit, but it has to do with the quality of our students. And I just love Black Belt for parenting. I love it. I love a lot of other books that are honest business books that I have. The Little Red Book is good. The oh man, I got a lot of books over here, but well, this is Chuck Zito's book. Chuck Zito beat up Van Damme, by the way, but I just randomly pulled books. I got a lot of good books, but I would say Black Belt for Parenting is probably one of the books that I think will be great for people. I got a lot of other books here, but anyway.
Yeah. Now, Lee Armory, let me just do it. They're the makers of my AK, and they're like one of my favorite AK companies. Man,
that's nice.
They're doing a project for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of project?
They are making a Green Ranger AK.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That is going to be nice. They do great work. And, man, I got to tell you, how many people your age group would love to see a Green Ranger, White Ranger, anything. That is super cool. I'm super excited about that. As you can see, I love all of the fan work that fans give me, and but this will be something definitely special. But let me warn you, John, if they make this Green Ranger AK, there's probably going to be a lot of orders. People are probably definitely going to want one because I definitely do. So that's amazing.
Yeah, they're going to send you one. Mario, a guy out at Lee Armory, he was like, man, I want to do a Green Ranger AK. And I was like, you know, I know the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
That is cool.
Yeah.
Cool. It's funny. I think that the age group now that you guys have is that wow factor. What? Oh, I grew up with it. And the reason why is because it's touched your heart. It takes you back to being a kid again. You know, so having someone like that build something for me is special for me. I mean, it's the Green Ranger has now hit a tactical making. AK-47 couldn't do that 20 years ago. This is the perfect time for it. So I'm very happy to get that. And thank you, Mario. Is Mario on here tonight?
He is not on here. He had something come up that he couldn't make it the last one.
Mario. Well, I'm going to tell Mario. Thank you.
Wants to be. He really, really wanted to be on here today to announce stuff. But
we could do it again. We'll do this again for sure.
Yeah. And also, you're going to be at the Gunathon in April.
Yeah. Yep. April 25th, right?
Yep. For July, it's going to be an awesome event. Yep. Go shoot some machine guns and have some fun with you.
Man, it's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to meeting all the fans too, raising some money and just being there, man, around all you guys and, you know, just all the people that enjoy what I enjoy. I mean, I love skydiving. I love wind tunnels. I love tactical stuff. I love understanding guns. I love supporting our rights for Second Amendment. You know, when I started shooting, I just thought it's just what it is. I just thought that is our right, and there's never going to be an issue with that. I never thought there'd be issues with that. I'm back in the days, you know, and I get it, but I just never paid attention. It was just my right to own a gun and my right to defend my family. And then, you know, it becomes issues. And I know maybe they've always been there, but I didn't have this stuff. I never watched the news, man. I didn't have the social media. So things start becoming more viral, but it doesn't mean that we also can't become viral. You know, there's a lot of social media can be good, and it's also good to defend yourself, and it's also good to, you know, share your rights with things. And I try to stay neutral on my page. So I know I might have fans that are watching that, you know, might not understand and do stuff, but you have to understand it's my individual rights as a person. And I have every right to defend myself, considering even now that I have people try to kill me. Someone's in jail for attempted murder. But even before then, it didn't faze me. I still believe in the rights, not because I got involved after. I just know that it's the people. It's the people. people always have something to justify and always something to blame, but it's the people. And I think that that's it's like that in every industry, even including the Power Ranger so-called violence that we did. But we've changed people around the world. So proof is in the pudding. After 26 years, there's more stories. I don't hear stories like that anymore. I hear stories, you moved me. I didn't have parents. I was abused. I was sexually abused. You got me through life. And then the good stories about this and that. But we've changed people just by watching the show. We've given people hope. And that's kind of what superheroes are, is that we give hope to people, you know? And so that's why I'm coming to do the event. I love it. I want to meet everyone, shoot some machine guns, have fun, and decompress and for my brain, a mental recharge for me. Also for something that we believe in.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much, Jason, JDF, for coming on and speaking with everyone. Everyone really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
People are saying bless you, JDF, and everything else. Donovan, anything you want to say before we head out?
No, just I can't wait to meet you in person.
Dude, I got a bunch of autographs. I'm bringing a bunch of stuff just for donations, man. I'm there to take pictures, there to give you guys autographs, whatever it is. We just need to raise some money for the cause, and no pressure on me. I'm just there to meet everyone, but I will bring a ton of Green Ranger, White Ranger stuff because it's never ending. Donovan, when you have a friend and you tell a friend that you know me, they will say, dude, hook me up, hook me up. So I always hook people up with the little extra stuff because most people are going to be like, what? Really? How do you know? Well, I'm going to be prepared, equipped with my ammo, which is the Green Ranger pictures, White Ranger pictures, some cool dog tags, Green Ranger, so you name it. So we're just doing a thing where we're just raising money, donate, and then we'll do some autographs and all that stuff. So, but don't feel pressured, man, about, you know, oh, I don't have money to come meet me. Come meet anyway, man. Let's make an experience and let's make it count. That's what we're all there for.
All right, guys. I was going to say I'm going to give you the last word, JDF. So, JDF.
All right, man. Well, you guys can follow us on the Instagram. Is the link going to be able to share with other people? If we're able to share this link with other people, or is it just live and it disappears? The link will always be there.
No, it will be there forever.
So share the link. Follow me on Instagram, JDFFFN, YouTube, JDFFFN. That stands for Jason David Frank, and my fight name is Fearless Frank. So it was originally Jason David Frank, Fearless Frank Nation, but I'm trying to take over the world. But it's JDFFFN, taking over the world with positivity. And then my Facebook, Jason David Frank official fan page. I just want to tell everyone that's watching, and including you guys, that the relationship does not end. It just begins, which is the good thing of social media. So stay connected to John's page, stay connected to all the pages that we're going to, you guys will see here, and just be part of our lives, man, and live life and do what you want to do. Don't become someone that someone wants you to become. And believe into what you believe in. Nobody has a right to tell you what you don't believe in. And that includes religion, relationships with God, whatever you want, you do. And whatever I do, I believe in what I believe. And that's just the way it is. So be you. Don't be someone that someone wants you to be, because you'll never truly be happy with yourself.
Yeah, that is a great parting message. Yep, the replay will be up in about an hour. It takes YouTube about an hour to actually put up the replay.
Well, I look forward to seeing you guys in real life.
Oh, yeah.
Some pictures, and it's great to be on here. And anytime you ever need me again, let me know. I do apologize for missing a couple of your shows.
Yeah, no problem.
Happen again. I'm a man on my word. My word is golden. And anything else you need, just let me know.
All right. Thank you so much, Jason.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
You've been watching Fireside Chats with John Crump, a Black Swan Media Group production. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tune in every week for a conversation with the difference makers in the world.